Good day. First, let me start by saying I found the President's speech this morning to be heartwarming and eloquent. I would expect nothing less from you, Mr. President. However, I have some points that I'd like to bring up on behalf of all Americans, and mainly the 15 million who remain unemployed. While you have fought valiantly to lift our country out of recession, those efforts have not resulted in meaningful job creation. Officially, the unemployment rate stands at 9.7%, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's higher than publicly announced. Let's look at some of the official numbers for unemployment and break them down by categories to see who will be hit hardest by the comprehensive immigration reform, aka amnesty. The unemployment rate for teens ages 16 through 19 stands at 26%, the highest rate since record-keeping began. The unemployment rate for African Americans, 15%. The unemployment rate for Hispanic Americans, 12%. And the unemployment rate for people who only have a high school diploma is 11%. How is it fair to the young, minorities, or blue-collar workers? How does comprehensive immigration reform benefit them? But let's not dwell on the facts. They're inconvenient, aren't they? That's why emotional appeals work best. Do you know what I find laughable about this whole debate? When elected officials tell me that it would be impossible to deport 12 million illegal immigrants from the United States. Thus, because the numbers are so great and we can't possibly remove them, we must make them citizens so that they can compete with us for jobs and be able to use even more of our social services than they already do now. You know, it's a good thing these people were not around to provide leadership during World War II. With that can't-do attitude, it's a wonder that our nation has been able to occupy Iraq, a country of 30 million people, and Afghanistan with 29 million. I mean, if we can occupy and pacify two very different foreign countries halfway around the world, does anyone honestly think that we can't find and remove 12 million illegal immigrants using local police forces, sheriff departments, the FBI, Homeland Security, the National Guard, ICE, the ATF, the DEA, NSA? I think you get my point. This is impossible for you, Mr. Obama, in the same way that it's impossible for a teenager to clean up his room. You lack the will. Of course, though, I cannot place all of the blame on your shoulders alone, Mr. Obama. Countless decades of American politicians haven't had the will either, including this current Congress. The warning signs have been growing louder and louder, but like the Gulf oil spill, you're not going to take action until it's too late. For those of you who are tone deaf, let me share with you some of the symptoms of what is ailing us. Am I the only one who remembers when Mexico's president came to the United States and spoke in our nation's capital, trashing our country and our people in a live address before both houses of Congress? Does anyone else remember the outrage that Mexico brought forth when two of its nationals were killed while fighting with our Border Patrol? The hate and the rage by not just Mexico's politicians, but by their people was clear, apparent, and palatable. And they hate us because we were enforcing our own laws. Those of you in Washington might think that we, the American people, are helpless, and that you can ignore our will in this matter. But let me assure you, we are not. There's been an 800-pound gorilla with us during this entire debate. And it turns out he's our gorilla. Did you know that America is Mexico's #1 trading partner? That's right. We account for over 85% of Mexico's exports. Did you also know that Mexican citizens account for over 70% of illegal immigrants within the United States? I'm going to speak the unthinkable today. Seeing as Mexico has collectively been spitting in our faces lately, I don't feel compelled to pull my punches. If we want to send a message that is clear to every politician in the United States and to the majority of illegal immigrants within our borders, all we need to kick the legs out from under the Mexican economy is for 25% of the U.S. population to come to the conclusion that they no longer want to buy anything assembled, made, or grown in Mexico. We can cause pain to every citizen of Mexico, young and old. There is no one in that nation who wouldn't be directly affected by a U.S. boycott of Mexican goods and services. The illegal immigrants within our borders would feel the pain and suffering from their anguished relatives. Now, I am not pushing for that option today, but I just wanted to make my fellow Americans aware that it is we who hold all the cards. I'm tired of the disrespect coming from Mexico when we have shown them and their nation nothing but kindness and generosity. I am tired of being called a racist for having views that are based on reason and fact. To the President, I say this: go on, keep pushing, see what happens. And to Mexico, be silent.